Gentlemen, let me ask you something that may sting for a moment. When was the last time you felt truly alive at night, when your body was strong, your energy steady, your sleep deep, and your manhood firm without struggle? For too many men over 60, those nights feel like a distant memory. The truth is, the older we get, the more quickly our strength fades when the sun goes down. But here's the shock you need to hear. One small nut before bed can change all of that, almost instantly. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, a urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping men just like you. I've walked alongside thousands of patients who thought their best days were behind them, until we discovered the simple, natural strategies that gave them back their potency, their vigor, and their peace of mind. What I share with you today comes from decades of science, but also from countless real men who've experienced this transformation firsthand. And here's what may surprise you. The key to feeling younger at night isn't a prescription drug or an expensive supplement. It's not found in a doctor's office or a surgery room. It's right there in the grocery store aisle, something you've passed 100 times without realizing its power. One nut that works with your body's natural rhythms to restore what time is taken away. So here's my promise to you. If you stay with me, you'll discover how this nut can bring back stronger erections, boost your energy, and help you finally sleep through the night again. In just a moment, I'll reveal exactly what this nut is, why it works, and how you can use it starting tonight. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss another doctor-backed health tip designed for men over 60. And I'd love to hear from you. If you're ready to try this simple nightly nut for better strength, energy, and sleep, type 1 in the comments. If you're still unsure, type 0 and tell me what's holding you back. I read every response. Now that you understand the promise of this one powerful nut, let's begin with the first question every man over 60 needs to ask. Why do evenings feel so heavy, so draining, and so different from the days of our youth? This is where the struggle truly begins. 1. Why men feel older at night. When I sit across from men in my office, many of them in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, I often hear the same quiet confession. Doctor, I feel fine during the day, but when the evening comes, I feel old. I feel weak. I feel like I'm not myself anymore. Maybe you've felt the same. You wake up with decent energy, you go about your day, but as the sun goes down, something changes. Your body feels heavier, your muscles ache more, your mind slows down, and the spark that once gave you confidence in the bedroom seems to fade. It's not your imagination. Nighttime truly does reveal the cracks that aging has left behind. Why does this happen? In younger years, evenings are when the body begins its natural repair process. Testosterone production increases, blood vessels relax, and the brain prepares for deep, restorative sleep. That's why young men can stay up late, enjoy intimacy, and still bounce back the next morning full of energy. But after 60, the very systems that once worked in your favor begin to falter. Testosterone release slows down. Nitric oxide production, the key to healthy blood flow, drops sharply. Stress hormones like cortisol remain high when they should be falling, and the result? You feel older at night than you do at any other time of day. This isn't just about fatigue, it's about identity. When a man loses his vigor at night, he doesn't just lose sleep, he loses confidence. He hesitates with his partner. He feels restless and frustrated instead of calm and powerful. I remember one patient telling me he dreaded bedtime because it had become the part of his day when he felt most defeated. That broke my heart, because I know it doesn't have to be that way. And here's the encouraging truth. Feeling older at night is not a permanent condition. It's a signal. Your body is crying out for support you can provide in the simplest of ways. That's where the night nut comes in. Just one handful before bed can supply the exact nutrients your aging body is missing. Nutrients that can turn your nights from a time of weakness into a time of renewal. Now you may be wondering, what is this missing piece? What is this nut that can give back potency, vigor, and sleep? Stay with me, because in the next section, I'll reveal exactly what it is and why it works like nature's secret prescription for men over 60. 2. The missing piece, the night nut for potency. For years, I watched men walk into my office carrying the same quiet burden. Tired eyes, a hesitant voice, and a deep frustration that their bodies no longer responded the way they once did. They told me about the pills they had tried, the endless supplements lining their cabinets, even the late-night television products that promised miracles but delivered disappointment. And I could feel the hopelessness in their words. But what if I told you that the answer was never in a prescription bottle or some expensive formula? What if the missing piece was something as humble and ordinary as a nut you could hold in the palm of your hand? That nut is the walnut, and it is far more powerful than most men realize. When I first explain this to my patients, I see a mix of disbelief and curiosity. Walnuts are rich in L-arginine, a compound your body converts into nitric oxide, the very gas that allows blood vessels to relax and open, creating the surge of circulation required for a strong, lasting erection. They also carry omega-3 fatty acids, essential for keeping blood vessels flexible and healthy. And perhaps most surprising, walnuts contain natural melatonin, the hormone that signals your brain when it's time for deep, restorative sleep. I remember one patient, a man in his late 60s, who came to me convinced his intimate life was over. He had tried everything without success. When I suggested something as simple as walnuts before bed, he laughed at first. But within a few weeks, he returned with tears in his eyes, telling me his nights felt transformed. Not only was he sleeping more soundly, but his confidence in the bedroom had returned in a way he thought impossible. This is why I call walnuts the night nut for potency. They strike at the very root of what men over 60 are missing: blood flow, hormonal balance, and restorative sleep. You don't need to complicate the solution when nature has already designed it. But as powerful as this nut is, the question remains: why does your body need this kind of support so desperately after 60? And what happens to those vital nutrients as the years pass? In the next section, I'll show you why your body loses its natural edge with age, and why walnuts become not just helpful, but essential. 3. Why vital nutrients disappear after 60. One of the hardest truths I share with my patients is that the male body after 60 is not the same machine it once was. The engine that once roared with energy begins to sputter, not because you've done something wrong, but because time quietly strips away the very nutrients that keep you strong. I've heard so many men tell me, "Doctor, I eat the same way I always have, but I just don't feel the same anymore." And they're right. Even with the same meals, your body no longer absorbs or produces key nutrients the way it did when you were younger. Take nitric oxide, for example. In your 30s and 40s, your body produced this molecule with ease, helping your blood vessels open wide, keeping your circulation strong, and giving you the kind of firmness you took for granted. But after 60, nitric oxide production can drop by half or more. That means even if your desire is there, your body struggles to respond. The same happens with melatonin. In youth, your brain flooded you with this natural sleep hormone every night, guiding you into deep rest. After 60, levels decline sharply, leaving you tossing and turning at the very time your body needs repair the most. And let's not forget testosterone. While it doesn't vanish overnight, the slow decline becomes obvious after 60. Less testosterone means less energy, less muscle, less confidence, and less of that fire that makes a man feel alive. Combine all of these declines, and it's no wonder so many men describe their nights as the time when everything seems to collapse. I remember a gentleman who once told me, "It feels like my body is leaking strength, drop by drop, and I don't know how to plug the holes." That image stuck with me, because it is exactly what happens when nutrients fade with age. You're leaking vitality without even realizing it. But here's the hopeful part. You can replace what's missing. Walnuts provide the very nutrients: arginine for nitric oxide, omega-3s for blood vessels, and melatonin for sleep that your body no longer makes in abundance. The question now is, how do you know when these vital nutrients are slipping away? What are the signs that your body is crying out for help even before you notice a major decline? In the next section, I'll show you the silent symptoms most men overlook and why recognizing them early can make all the difference. 4. The silent symptoms of deficiency. What troubles me most as a physician is how quietly these deficiencies creep in. They don't announce themselves with a loud alarm or a sudden collapse. Instead, they whisper, slowly eroding your quality of life until one day you realize you're not the man you used to be. I've had men sit in front of me and admit that they can't remember the last time they slept through the night. Others confess they avoid intimacy, not because they don't want it, but because they're afraid of disappointment. Still others tell me they wake each morning feeling more exhausted than when they went to bed. These are not random complaints. They are the body's way of signaling that vital nutrients are missing. The first symptom is restless sleep. You might wake up multiple times, sometimes with no clear reason, or lie awake staring at the ceiling long after you've turned out the light. That broken rhythm robs your body of the deep sleep stages that restore hormones and repair blood vessels. The second symptom is weaker erections or a loss of morning firmness. It's subtle at first. You notice it takes longer to respond, or things don't feel as reliable as before. Over time, that subtlety becomes a source of frustration and even shame. The third symptom is daytime fatigue. Even when you've technically had enough hours of sleep, you wake up groggy, sluggish, and unmotivated. It feels as if your energy tank is leaking. Add in mood changes, irritability, and the creeping loss of confidence, and suddenly these small deficiencies are impacting your relationships, your happiness, and your sense of self. One man once told me, "Doctor, I thought it was just stress. I thought this was normal for my age." And that's the greatest tragedy. Too many men believe these symptoms are simply the price of getting older, but they're not. They are warning signs, red flags that your body is running on empty, craving the nutrients it once had in abundance, and ignoring them only accelerates the decline. The good news is, you don't have to accept this slow fade. There is a natural, accessible way to replenish what you're missing and to feel like yourself again. And it all starts with making the right choice at night. Which nut holds the key? And why does it outperform every other option for men over 60? That's exactly what I'll reveal next. 5. The right nut, the right way. When I first tell a man that the answer to his nighttime struggles may be found in a simple nut, he often looks at me with disbelief. I've heard it so many times. "Doctor, how could something so ordinary make such a difference?" But that's the beauty of nature. It hides extraordinary power in the most unassuming places. And among all the nuts you see in the store, almonds, cashews, pecans, pistachios, only one stands out as uniquely designed to meet the needs of men over 60. That nut is the walnut. Walnuts are more than a snack. They are a concentrated package of everything your aging body is asking for at night. Their L-arginine content fuels the production of nitric oxide, opening up blood vessels and improving circulation where you need it most. Their omega-3 fatty acids nourish the heart and brain, protecting against inflammation and stiffness that rob men of vitality. And then there's the hidden gift, natural melatonin. While other nuts may support energy or heart health, walnuts carry the rare combination that supports erections, stamina, and deep, restorative sleep all at once. It's no coincidence I call them the night nut for potency. I'll never forget a patient in his 70s who tried them for the first time. He had been loyal to almonds for years, believing he was making the healthiest choice. But after switching to walnuts before bed, he told me, "Doctor, I had no idea what I was missing. My sleep is different now, my mornings feel stronger, and my wife has noticed too." His story isn't unique. I've seen this transformation repeated again and again, and it always reminds me how often the simplest answers are the ones we overlook. Still, it's not just about knowing which nut to choose, it's about how you use it. Walnuts must be eaten the right way, at the right time, to unlock their full benefits. Too many men make mistakes that dilute their power without even realizing it. So the next question is this: how do you take this nut correctly at night to get the results you've been longing for? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could be the turning point in your journey back to potency, vigor, and deep sleep. 6. How to take it correctly at night. I've learned over the years that even the most powerful natural remedy can fail if it's not used the right way. Walnuts are no exception. Too often, men hear that walnuts are good for them and then toss them into their diet at random, expecting miracles. But the body has rhythms, and timing is everything. If you want to unlock the full potential of this nut, you need to give your body the right amount at the right moment. That's where so many men go wrong. The truth is, you don't need a bowl full of walnuts to see results. In fact, overeating them can backfire, leaving you with digestive discomfort or unnecessary calories that add up over time. The sweet spot is just 4 to 6 halves, about a small handful. It may not look like much, but within those few pieces lies a powerful dose of L-arginine, omega-3 fatty acids, and natural melatonin. That handful is enough to nourish your blood vessels, calm inflammation, and signal your brain that it's time for deep, restorative sleep. And timing matters even more. Walnuts should be eaten about an hour before bed, not in the morning, not in the afternoon, not as part of a heavy dinner. Why? Because that's when your body is preparing for its nightly repair cycle. By giving it walnuts at night, you supply the exact building blocks it needs right when it needs them most. Think of it like fueling an engine before a long drive. Without that fuel, the car sputters. With it, everything runs smoothly. I still remember a man who told me he'd been eating walnuts every day for years but hadn't noticed a difference. When I asked when he ate them, he shrugged and said, "Usually with lunch." Once he shifted to eating them before bed, the results came quickly. His sleep deepened, his energy lifted, and his confidence returned in ways that surprised him. Sometimes it's not about doing more, it's about doing it smarter. So, if you want potency, vigor, and deep sleep, remember this. It's not just the nut itself that matters, but how and when you take it. But once you get this right, what changes should you expect, and how soon will you start to feel them? Let's move forward and look at the transformation timeline that most men experience when they commit to this nightly habit. 7. What to expect. The transformation timeline. One of the first questions men ask me after I tell them about walnuts is, "Doctor, how long will it take before I notice a difference?" It's a fair question. When you've been struggling for years with restless nights, fading energy, and disappointing performance, you want to know if this simple habit can truly turn things around. The truth is, every man's body is different, but I've seen a consistent pattern in my patients who commit to eating walnuts before bed. In the first week, the most common change is in sleep. Many men tell me they fall asleep faster, waking fewer times during the night. For some, this alone feels like a small miracle, because sleep is the foundation for everything else. With better sleep comes a more stable mood, sharper thinking, and less irritability during the day. By the second week, energy in the mornings begins to rise. You don't feel as heavy getting out of bed. You start to notice that tasks you used to put off don't seem so daunting anymore. That sense of sluggishness begins to lift. Around the third or fourth week, something remarkable happens. Erections become firmer, especially morning erections, which are one of the clearest signs of vascular health. I've had men describe the return of morning firmness with a mixture of relief and pride, because it signals that their body is still capable, still responsive, still alive. And it's not just physical. Confidence grows. Men begin to approach intimacy with less hesitation and more excitement, which brings couples closer together in ways no pill can replace. By the end of the first month, the benefits tend to reinforce one another. Deeper sleep fuels stronger hormone balance. Better circulation supports both heart health and sexual performance. Energy builds upon itself, making you feel more like the man you used to be. I've watched this cycle transform not only health, but marriages, self-esteem, and even outlook on life. But here's the key. You must be patient and consistent. Walnuts are not a quick fix. They are a nightly investment in your future vitality. And when taken correctly, they can deliver changes that no expensive supplement ever could. Still, even with something as natural as walnuts, there are mistakes men often make that sabotage their results. In the next section, I'll reveal the 3 most common pitfalls and how to avoid them, so you don't lose the progress you've worked so hard to build. 8. Avoid these 3 common mistakes. Even with something as natural and powerful as walnuts, success often comes down to avoiding a few simple mistakes. I've seen men give up too quickly, convinced the nut doesn't work, when in reality, it was never the walnut that failed them. It was the way they were using it. And I want you to learn from those experiences so you don't fall into the same traps. The first mistake is eating too many. More is not better. A handful, about 4 to 6 halves, is all you need. When men eat large amounts, thinking it will supercharge the benefits, they often end up with stomach discomfort, bloating, or unwanted weight gain. Remember, this is not about flooding your body, but about giving it just the right amount of fuel at just the right time. The second mistake is eating walnuts at the wrong time of day. I've had patients proudly tell me they've been eating them faithfully every morning, only to admit they haven't noticed much change. That's because the magic of walnuts lies in their nighttime use. Their natural melatonin works with your body's evening rhythm, and their nitric oxide-boosting arginine prepares your system while you sleep. Timing is everything, and night is when this nut delivers its greatest impact. The third mistake is pairing walnuts with heavy, sugary, or greasy foods. I've seen men eat walnuts alongside ice cream, or roasted in salt and oils, thinking they're still reaping the benefits. But all those additives can blunt or even cancel the positive effects. Walnuts are most powerful when eaten plain, raw, and simple. Just the nut, nothing more. I remember one patient who told me he had been eating walnuts for months with no difference. When I asked how, he laughed and admitted, mostly candied walnuts after dinner. Once he switched to raw walnuts an hour before bed, the results came quickly: better sleep, more energy, and stronger performance. It reminded me of something I tell all my patients. It's not just what you eat, it's how you eat it. Avoiding these mistakes may sound simple, but they make the difference between frustration and transformation. And if you want to maximize the power of walnuts even further, there's a way to combine them with a few key nutrients for results that go beyond what walnuts alone can do. In the next section, I'll reveal that powerful combination and why it could be the secret weapon for men over 60. 9. The Secret Boost: Walnut plus other nutrients. Over the years, I've learned that the body often responds best when we give it not just one tool, but a complete set of tools working together. Walnuts alone are powerful, but when combined with a few other key nutrients, the results can be nothing short of remarkable. I call this the secret boost, because most men have never been told that their nightly walnut can work even harder when paired with the right partners. One of those partners is zinc. Zinc is essential for testosterone production, and without it, your body struggles to maintain the very hormone that defines your strength and vigor. Many men over 60 unknowingly run low on zinc, and that deficiency shows up as weaker erections, slower recovery, and a fading sex drive. When you pair walnuts with foods rich in zinc, like lean beef, oysters, or pumpkin seeds, you create a synergy that amplifies your body's natural drive. Another powerful partner is vitamin B6. This vitamin supports brain chemistry and hormone balance, making it easier for your body to regulate mood, energy, and sleep cycles. I've had men tell me that when they added B6-rich foods like salmon or bananas to their evening routine, alongside walnuts, they felt calmer, more focused, and more rested when morning came. It's as if the walnuts laid the foundation and the B6 completed the structure. And don't forget magnesium. Though walnuts contain some, combining them with magnesium-rich foods such as spinach or dark chocolate can further enhance relaxation and support deep, restorative sleep. One man once told me, "Doctor, when I started pairing walnuts with a small square of dark chocolate at night, it was the first time in years I slept straight through until morning." That simple ritual gave him back the sense of control he thought was gone forever. The secret boost isn't about complicating your life. It's about small, thoughtful pairings that multiply the effect of what you're already doing. Walnuts open the door, and these other nutrients help push it wide open. But even with all this science, there's something deeper at stake here. Because what good are potency, vigor, and sleep if they don't touch the very core of who you are as a man? In the final section, I want to talk about why this matters on an emotional level, and why reclaiming your nights is about far more than just health. It's about reclaiming your life. 10. The emotional core. Why this matters. At the end of the day, gentlemen, this conversation isn't only about a nut or even about blood flow, hormones, or sleep. It's about something much deeper. It's about how you feel as a man when the lights go out and the world quiets down. I've seen men who look perfectly healthy on the outside, but inside they carry a heavy weight. The weight of frustration, of feeling like they've lost their edge, of wondering if their best days are behind them. And that pain is not just physical, it's emotional, it's relational, and it touches every part of life. When a man can no longer sleep deeply, he wakes each morning with less energy for the things he loves. When erections fade, he may pull away from intimacy, not because he doesn't want closeness, but because he fears disappointment. That distance can create silence between him and his partner, a silence that hurts more than words ever could. And when vigor is gone, so too is the confidence that fuels passion, purpose, and joy in everyday living. These are not small losses. They strike at the very core of who we are. I remember a patient in his mid-60s who said to me, "Doctor, I don't care about having the body of a 30-year-old. I just want to feel like myself again." That honesty moved me because it captures what so many men truly want, not perfection, but restoration, to wake up rested, to feel steady in their strength, to share moments of closeness without fear, to look in the mirror and see a man who still has fire left in him. That's why this matters. Walnuts are not just about nutrients. They are about giving you back a sense of control. They are about proving to yourself that age does not define desire, that 60 is not the end of strength, and that your nights can still hold power, intimacy, and peace. The emotional renewal that comes with restored potency, vigor, and sleep is often greater than the physical changes themselves. So as we move into the conclusion, let me tie it all together. Because the real story here is not simply about eating a handful of walnuts. It's about what happens when you take back your nights, your mornings, and your manhood. And in just a moment, I'll share how to make this simple ritual a lasting part of your life. Conclusion. Gentlemen, we've walked together through a journey that touches every corner of a man's life after 60. We began with the truth that nights often feel heavier with age. Your energy fades, your sleep breaks apart, and your confidence slips quietly away. We uncovered the missing piece, the walnut, nature's night nut that delivers the very nutrients your body cries out for. We talked about why nitric oxide, testosterone, and melatonin decline with time, and how walnuts can begin to restore what's been lost. We explored the silent symptoms, restless sleep, fading erections, and sluggish mornings, that too many men mistake for just aging, when in reality they are signals begging you to act. We looked at why walnuts stand apart from other nuts, how to take them correctly, and the timeline of transformation that follows when you stay consistent. We uncovered the mistakes to avoid, the secret boost that comes from combining walnuts with zinc, B6, and magnesium, and finally, we touched the emotional heart of this message. Why reclaiming your nights is about more than health. It's about reclaiming your manhood, your intimacy, and your joy. I've sat with men who thought their story was finished, who believed decline was their destiny. And I've seen the light return to their eyes when they realized they had the power to fight back with something as simple as a nightly ritual. 4 to 6 halves of walnuts before bed may not look like much, but it represents a choice to sleep more deeply, to wake with energy, to feel firm and ready again, and to share closeness with the person beside you without fear or hesitation. That is not a small thing, it's everything. I want you to imagine yourself 1 month from now. You're going to bed without dread, waking without exhaustion, and looking in the mirror with a renewed sense of pride. That future is possible. And it begins not with a complicated routine, not with another pill, but with one small handful of walnuts every night. So here is my challenge to you. Start tonight. Take back your strength, your sleep, and your confidence. Because age may shape us, but it does not have to define us. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, and I want you to remember, 1 nut at night can change your life. Now go and claim the nights, the mornings, and the man you were always meant to be. Gentlemen, before we close, I want to speak directly to you. If this video has given you hope, if it has reminded you that life after 60 can still be full of strength, intimacy, and peace, then I ask for one small favor in return. Please take a moment to like this video. It may seem simple, but every click tells the platform that men's health matters, and it helps bring this message to thousands of other men who are silently struggling. Share this video with a friend, a brother, or even your son, because sometimes one conversation can change a life. And I want to hear from you personally. Leave a comment below and let me know if you're ready to try this nightly ritual. Type yes if you'll start tonight, or tell me your story so that others can learn and find courage in your words. If you believe in the work I'm doing and want to support more content like this, consider making a small donation. Every contribution goes right back into creating honest, doctor-backed advice for men over 60 who deserve to live with dignity and strength. Together, we can build a community where no man feels alone in his fight for vitality.